Thanks for joining us for another Retirement Defense download. Today we're going to talk about 401k rollovers. Should you do one or should you not? It really just depends on what your situation is. But let's start with some basics. 401k. We know that this is a great vehicle. You've been saving in through your employer. The employer sponsored the plan. You're contributing pre-tax money, so you're not paying taxes on the money you're putting into it. It's growing over time. And when you get to retirement down the road, you'll be able to take money out. You'll pay taxes at that time, hopefully in a lower tax rate. And maybe your employer is doing some profit sharing contributions or some matching contributions to what you're putting into it. It's a great option. You're able to invest typically in mutual funds, whether that's equity mutual funds or bond mutual funds, and your account grows over time. They're provided through various different custodians out there. It could be an insurance company that's overseeing the plan. It could be a Vanguard or a Fidelity that's overseeing the plan, but it's a great vehicle that you're saving over time. But what happens when you decide to leave that employer? That could be for retirement. That could be because you have another job opportunity and you want to go to a new company. Maybe you want to go start up your own business. What should you do with that money? Do you leave it there? Do you move it to a new plan? Those are the questions that we always want to look at, and we want to determine what makes sense for you. But here is really where the question comes in. How does that old plan compare to the new plan or the new options? The first thing that you could do is just leave it there. If they've got great investment choices, the fees are really low inside of the plan, that's great. But I always tell most people, you have no connection to that company anymore. Why would you leave it there? What if they decide to change who manages the plan? They're going to map your investments over to the new company's plans, and you really don't have any say. Now, granted, once it's done, you can go in and make those adjustments, but why leave it there? It also gives you an opportunity to forget about it. Maybe you were only there for a short period of time and there's a few $1,000s in it, and over the years, you forget that you even had it there. So we typically tell people don't leave your old 401k plan in place. You want to consider the rollover. And the rollover could be even to a new employer. So you've moved to a new company, that new company offers a plan. Why not take your assets, move it over to the new company, and then you're on top of it. You can see it regularly. You're attending the employee meetings where they talk about retirement savings, and that could be a great option for you to consider. But what if that new plan doesn't have good choices? Maybe the new plan doesn't match and it doesn't make sense to contribute to it. So what else do you consider? You want to consider the IRA. The IRA is a great vehicle because you can roll over as well. Again, when you do a rollover, you're not creating any tax consequences. You're just moving the money from inside your 401k into the new 401k or into an IRA. What's nice about the IRA is you now have the world of investment choices available. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in bonds, you can invest in CDs, you can invest in mutual funds, exchange traded funds. Even some IRA accounts allow you to invest in real estate or businesses. There's a lot of different options out there, but now you have one centralized place that if you change jobs again in the future, you can also roll more assets from other companies into this one IRA. Think of it like a central point that you would always have your retirement account in. Maybe it's retirement. You're getting to retirement. Should you leave it in your 401k that your company that you're retiring from, or should you move it to an IRA? The same kind of plan consideration comes into case. How are the plan options? How are the fees inside of those accounts? What kind of investment choices do they have? Those are all going to be factors when you're deciding what to do with that old 401k. There are a couple caveats though. One of the things about retirement accounts is that over time, as you've saved up, the IRS has never been taxing that money. And so at some point they want to get their tax dollars, and it's called a required minimum distribution. And right now for most people that would start at 72 years of age. If there was an opportunity for you to continue working and you were going to work later in life, then more than likely you would leave that plan in the 401k because there's no required distribution if you're still working there and contributing to that 401k. Whereas if you've retired and you're not working, you do have a required distribution from the 401k, or if you put money in an IRA, you always have a required distribution at 72 from the IRA. The other thing to consider is maybe you're going to retire at a younger age. Well, 401ks and IRAs all have an age 59 and a half penalty if you take money out before that point. Well, one way to avoid that is your 401k, a lot of plans offer the opportunity to start taking distributions if you retire at 55. So there's a few different ideas to think about when it comes to 401k rollovers, and should you or shouldn't you? I don't know. But that's where you want to sit down with a financial advisor, specifically a fiduciary that can really help you out and give you direction on what's in your best intent and what's in your best interest for your retirement future. Look forward to seeing you in a future Retirement Defense download.